Hi parents and teachers, thank you for joining me again. I want to show you an easy standard to work on with your children. These videos are meant for parents and teachers of young children. So if you have a preschooler, a kindergartner, or a first grader, hopefully they will be very helpful for you. I have found that parents are constantly asking me what they can do to extend the learning at home, how they can keep their child engaged. And I am filming this in March of 2020, and so we are in the middle of the coronavirus right now, a pandemic, and lots of parents are all of a sudden at home with their children, and so they're wondering how to keep working on skills that we're working on at school. So I thought it would be a great idea to show you the objectives, the learning objectives that we have as kindergarten teachers. I teach kindergarten in Middle Tennessee, and so my learning objectives might be slightly different, although I have compared them to Common Core and they're very similar. And so the learning objectives that we will work on will work for any state, even the states that have a little bit different learning objectives like Texas. You're still going to be needing to work on these standards with your children. And so the one we're going to work on today is so easy to integrate into any book that you're reading, and it goes for fiction books because we're going to work on characters. The first standard or I can statement that I would show to my students would look like this, and it says, I can identify the characters in the story. So I tell my children that's what we're working on. The bigger, longer standard with educational jargon meant for teachers is down at the bottom. It has the reference number, and it says, with prompting and support, orally identify characters, settings, and major events in a story. And so I don't want to overwhelm my students. So the first time I work on this, I'm going to ask them to identify just the characters in the story. Later, when I feel like they understand that, I would add in asking them about setting. I'm going to give you a hint that setting is very difficult for children. They have a little bit of a hard time figuring out what the setting of the book is, and then asking them about the major events. So sometimes it's a problem for children to break the book down into major events. You might ask them to tell you about the beginning, the middle, and end of the book. That can help them to break it down. Let's say we're reading The Three Little Pigs. They may want to tell you all about the beginning of the book and all about the pig who builds his house with straw. Well, they may finish it there, but you need to teach them that they have to tell you all about the beginning, the middle, and end, the major events in the story, and not spend too long telling you about the tiniest details. They may just want to tell you about their favorite part. So it is something that takes some practice. Again, I like to begin by just asking my children to identify the characters. When I feel like they're really strong with that, I may ask them to identify the main character. Who is the main character in the story? And then we will move on to working on setting. Now, I always say to my students, what two questions do we ask when we work on setting? And so I teach them to say, where and when. Where and when. And so I'll be showing the children that on the next video that goes along with this one. In this video series, I will spend time talking about the objective to parents and teachers, and then I will teach the standard to your students or your children. So it gives you a little idea of how we would do this in kindergarten if you're not in the classroom right now and you just want some fun ways to work with your kids on a new standard. So think about it tonight, think about it tomorrow. How can you ask your children about the setting? How can you ask your children about the major events? Now, there are lots of ways to work on this. So besides just talking through it, I can also ask my child, just get a plain piece of construction paper and draw the setting, draw the characters, write about the characters. What do you know about the character? You can ask your child to write about the beginning, middle, and end. An easy way to do that, now let's say I have this piece of paper. I can just take this paper and fold it into thirds like this, push it down, and it would have three pieces. I can put BME, beginning, middle, and end, and ask my child to draw about the beginning, the middle, and the end. Simply folding a piece of paper can add a little more engagement for your child and help them understand the beginning, middle, and end concept. So think about all of the fun ways to work on this at home. Think about the wonderful books that you have to work on this, because I know you have the resources you need for this standard. All right, I'm going to make a video just for kids, so make sure to play that one next. Have a great day, guys.